Safety on the road. If you wonder why I don't answer after about the 20th one, I'm like, I got it. You're not coming. Enjoy. Safety on the roads, whatever. But those of you that came today, y'all are awesome. I guess you navigated through all the gay people. Yeah, it's pride. I predict there will be a lot of gay people in Piedmont Park today. See if I'm. And I predict there will be street preachers with bullhorns telling them they're going to hell. See if I'm a prophet. I see it in the vision. Das, you're awesome. I wouldn't change a thing about you. You're awesome. You're awesome. Are you through? I'm sorry. I am so finished. Watch. All right. It's a beautiful day. We're in one mind and one accord. We're excited. We're full of anticipation. We feel good. The same spirit that raised Jesus from the dead is in us, the Zoe life. We have eternal life now, not off somewhere in the future. We have the nature of God now, the presence of God here and now. God is alive now. God is real now. The Holy Spirit is here now. Miracles are being released now. We have joy now. Our situations that we've dealt with during the week are being resolved. Things are falling into place. Things are coming into order. Our universe is being organized in a right way. All of the good things swirling around us are lining up to be manifested into our lives. And today's teaching and experience will put us in position to receive even better. We just open up our minds and our hearts. There's love in this place. There's unity in this place. There's joy in this place. We speak peace over this with all the people that are here in the next few hours on these few blocks. We just speak peace and order, and that everything will go well. Everything will be peaceful. The angel of the Lord encamps around about all of us to keep us in all of our ways. We declare the end from the beginning and say it is an excellent, excellent day. Everybody said, Amen. Let's run this, if you will, please. And then just remain standing.
Good morning and welcome to Metron. Metron is measure or sphere of influence, and we want to help you find your Metron through motivation, enlightenment, transcendence, renewal, outreach, and network. Today is your day to find your Metron.
Good morning. Welcome. Those of you who have just logged on, wherever you are, we're glad that you're here by the miracle of the internet. It's a great time to be alive when this great age of spiritual awakening is married with the breakthroughs in technology. So we're in one mind and one accord spiritually, but also technologically, and that's very exciting. I've got really good stuff to share with you today. I'm not going to hold you really long today because I know some of you got to get out of here. But I'm very, very excited and always happy to have my kids with me, any of them. I will, don't tell the other three, but I will say Jonah's my favorite since he's the one who's here today. Actually, the other day, I was with all four of them, and he said, "Dad, you've lost weight." I said, "All right, you're officially my favorite one." And I say it in front of the other three. But anyway, he always has something good to share with us. I'm so proud of him, always blown away by his talent, not just as a singer and a musician, but as a writer. And is also, if you don't know Jonah, get to know him. He's really he's very enlightened. He's very positive. We get together sometimes and have lunch, and it's just nothing but high vibration. It's like he's just very tuned in. And last week he just texted me. He said, "I just want you to know I believe in what you're doing," and that means everything. And he's a big part of that. So, without any further ado, would you please welcome the awesome Jonah Swilley? Jonah.
Hey guys. It's a great day, isn't it? So today I'm gonna do some songs that I produced in the past, and it's gonna be a little bit more like groovy. So you guys can stand for this one and dance with it, whatever. I don't wanna make you wait, girl. What else I gotta say, girl? Pick up the whole place, girl. I don't wanna make you late, girl. I gotta find what I want in a woman. Fit that into my schedule. Finding time ain't easy, but you might be worked out a book. Hey, you got me put to work. 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 And it's like this all day, all night, all day. You got me working, girl. All day, all night, all day. You got me working, girl. All day, all night, all day. You got me working, girl. All day, all night, all day. You got me working, girl. I don't remember the day, girl. I think I done lost my train, girl. Oh, we got lots to obtain, girl. Starting to lose my brain, girl. And I gotta find what I want in a woman. Fit that into my schedule. Finding time ain't easy, but you might be worked out a book. Hey, you got me put it to work. 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 And it's like this all day, all night, all day. You got me working, girl. Say all day, all night, all day. You got me working, girl. All day, all night, all day. You got me working, girl. Say all day, all night, all day. You got me working, girl. Every time I think I go and call you, you throw it just like a quarterback. You see what I do? Don't want to get caught up in that one-way string. Look at me like a coach. I want to put you on the team like, girl, let's make a quick toast. Look how far we come. It was pre, now it's post. Like, ooh, wow, your hoops now. I'ma get you up, I got you, don't even worry how. I gotta find what I want in a woman. Fit that into my schedule. Finding time ain't easy. You might be worked out a pole. You got me put to work. 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 Thanks, guys. Taking it all in, feel like I'm surrounded. What you got going on, girl, I wanna know. I know you see me calling, up to now it's all been nothing too far, but just not too close. When it comes down to it, I've been you speaking my language, girl, I've been fluent, doing whatever I can just so I don't ever lose it. And all she ever says is prove it. Well, I don't know it, but I'll show it. Just so you know you got the floor going. Into solo, you pose a low. I just need your vote. Well, something just say right here. Yeah, something just say right here. Hey, I say a lot, but do I mean it now? I mean a lot, but do I say it loud? It all surround your loving, it all surround your loving, all surround your loving, baby. Taking it all in, what am I feeling? What you got going on, girl, it's no joke. I know you see me falling, so now it's all been nothing crazy, but now you got me low. Yeah, I mean it when I say it, got me feeling loco. Maybe from the way you're looking at me like a photo. Standing still, is it you when you in my photo? Is it true, is it you, is it you? Well, I don't know it, but I'll show it. Whatever you need to believe, this all is real and true, just me and you. Well, something just say right here. Yeah, something just say right here. Hey, I say a lot, but do I mean it now? I mean a lot, but do I say it loud? Oh, surround your loving, oh, surround your loving, oh, surround your loving, baby. I say a lot, but do I mean it now? I mean a lot, but do I say it loud? Oh, surround your loving, oh, surround your loving, oh, surround your loving, baby. Yes, guys. Thanks for rocking with me. This next one's a little bit more chilled out. If y'all want to stand, you can, or sit down, whatever. So yeah, this next one's called First Name. First things first, let me tell you a quick fact about myself. I'm weirder than most, but to you, I guess that's just anyone else. Let me get your number, girl. Let me call you this summer, girl. And then when winter comes around, I'll take you serious. If not, that's a bummer, girl. Now what you call me is very important to the story of us. I love strong, and it's getting us all in a fuss. It's easy not to run when I'm old. It's easier to love when it's cold. Names aren't the same, but I want to be the one that doesn't change when it comes down to the pages of your life, if that's possible. In this gospel, just tell me, or sell me something like a dozen of other girls' hearts, but still wouldn't equal. Let's take it back to the start. Don't call me by my first name. That's the worst thing you could do. It tells me you don't know me. All the time you show me what I mean to you. So call me love. Call me love. Call me your love. Call me your love. Girls really ain't that serious. I just want a real experience with you and no one else and me who remind you all day of your wealth and worth. Don't call my name like you did his. Got the answer, it's evident. I'm in for the killing, but that's a said and done kind of feeling. The name that you call me, I want it to be from you. Oh, from you. Hey, you gotta think for me. You know I gotta think for you. Let's share the same name, that's love, nothing cordial. Let's get back to the basics. See me, no need for lacing. It's just a name, no, it's who I am to you. Don't call me by my first name. That's the worst thing you could do. It tells me you don't know me. All the time you show me what I'm into you. So call me love. Call me love. So call me love. Call me your love. So call me love. Call me love. Call me your love. Call me your love. Thanks, guys.
Jonas Swilley. I love it. Thanks, bud. I love y'all. Y'all are so wonderful and supportive. Thank you. You may be seated. He's good, isn't he? He's cool. Proud of him, proud of him, proud of him. Wow, it's good to see you, Stephanie. It's good to see you, and several of you haven't seen in a minute. Look at you. Where you been? By the time you got yourself back here? Oh yeah, you're on a journey. Well, I'm glad your journey. Your car remembered how to get back here. I ain't mad at anybody. I'm just happy. I'm happy you show up. You will not be yelled at, even if I say where you been. So some lady a few years, I can't even remember her name now, so it doesn't matter that I say it, but they hadn't been in church in a while, and I just saw them in the parking lot, and I said, "Hey, where have y'all been?" Well, it just ticked her off that I said that. She wrote me this horrible long letter about, we don't owe you an explanation about where, and like, wow, I just said where y'all been. I thought that was a term of endearment. So what I did, there somewhere in the letter, she mentioned some book that she had read. I just wrote her back and said, "Thanks for the book review. That's awesome. God bless you." But you never. Sometimes when people go off on you, you think, "Oh, this is about you. This isn't about me. This is you got some issue." Because if you read something into where you've been, that's gonna take that much time. I don't even talk about it. Anyway, I'm gonna try to keep it moving today because I know some of us are on a schedule. All of us are on a schedule. I mean, you know what I mean. But I am glad you're all here. Glad to see Emily and Corday here. I mentioned if you ever get a chance to see Corday in one of his productions, he's up at Piedmont College. He really is an excellent actor, and I knew that I wasn't surprised that he had stage presence because I know him, but the material they did was the play Strange Fruit that had not been performed since I think 1945. And I mean, it's very heavy material. It's not a funny play at all. And that cast really rose to the occasion and pulled it off. And Corday actually played two different roles in it. And it was great. I was blown away by it. Loved it. So glad you're here. I told him, I said, when you win the Tony, you better say, I want to thank my bishop for believing in me and driving up to Piedmont College to support me. Or there's going to be trouble. There's going to be an usher taking me out of the Tonys. Excuse me. Oh, don't act like you don't know me. Don't act like you don't know your white bishop. I will make some trouble up in here. I've had fun over the years having a multicultural church because these don't really exist that much anymore. But in a lot of small towns, there's like the white funeral home and the black funeral home. And so because of the makeup of my church, I've done lots of funerals in the black funeral homes over the years. And it's very interesting when you show up and you can tell you are the first Caucasian that has ever walked in that building. And they look at you and say, I think you want the one down the street. I'm like, no, I'm here to do the Jackson funeral. And y'all gonna, and they're like, they don't know what to do with me. They're like, I don't think you, I said, no, seriously, I'm their pastor. Work it out later. But y'all got to let me, whether you like it or not, I'm the show. remember, let's see, what is it? 2 weeks from today, from Saturday is that's the 24th. We're going up to Dahlonega to the Smith House. We are asking to do a sign up sheet because, or not a sign up sheet, but just let us know online because we're going to carpool up there. And that way, if we know who to expect, we will not leave without you. Some of you that live on the north side of town may just want to meet us up there. But if it helps, usually when we go out of town, we'll just meet here because everybody knows where it is. And it's about maybe an hour and a half, if that. But it's going to be a beautiful drive. We're going to hit the color on the trees just right. If you've never been there, Smith House is really cool. It's similar to the Dillard House, but a little bit different setup, but equally as good. I think we have to have at least 20 people to get a reservation, I believe. So I'm sure we'll have at least that. And it's adjacent right there to the little town square in Dahlonega, which is beautiful. It looks like something out of especially in the fall, it looks like something out of a movie set. So it'll totally be worth your trip. Eric, Karen, I got your text praying for you, believing Karen's had some issues. They don't even want me to talk about it. It's just she is overcoming. We're all overcoming. In an environment like this, we have plenty of compassion, but we also, like, I know sometimes I may want you to know that I need prayer, but I don't need to go in a lot of details about it. And lately, I've had several. This is not Eric and Karen, but by the way, but I've had several people who wanted me to pray about something. They'll send me like pictures on my phone of their horribly infected foot or something like that. I'm like, that's not going to make me agree any better, and you've completely grossed me out. So please don't do that again. When I'm like having a happy day, I'm like, oh God, I wish I could unsee this. I know you want somebody to care about your situation, but y'all got to know this about me. I will come visit you in the hospital, but you can't tell me a lot of details. Some of you that I've visited before, I never ask where that tube's going or I learned a long time ago, keep your eyes moving. We're going to pray. We're going to, like the nurses always say, sir, we're trying to, do our thing here. And I'm like, lady, I'm going to be out of your way so quick. You don't even know. But because I don't need a lot of details. It doesn't mean I'm not compassionate, but it's not going to help you if I pass out on the floor at the hospital. I don't have a lot of faith at that point. So y'all, I think most of y'all by now, y'all pretty much know me by now. So, and several other people that we've mentioned before, just keep them in your prayers. Keep Leona's family in your prayers. Her sister, this is actually a blessing. Her sister went to be with the Lord yesterday. She's been sick for a very long time, and it's one of those things where, it's sad, but it's actually it's a blessing. It's a relief, especially if you believe in eternal life and know that she's still very much alive and is well now. But I'm assuming they'll be going out of town. Last time Leona was in the hospital, she didn't tell me, so I was like, don't you ever be in the hospital and not tell me. So Ernie yesterday was like, dear God, be sure you text Bishop and let him know because we'll never hear the end of it. I said, that's right. You better recognize. I had other people complaining that I don't visit them, and then other people that didn't even tell me. So I know I'm pretty good, but I don't have, I can't read your mind. Although I've been accused of it quite a bit lately. Several of the things I've been posting on Facebook, people keep saying, seriously, are you reading my mind? I'm like, yes. A microchip was put into your head some time ago. I better not say that. Those of you who are watching online, that's a joke. Somebody's going, I knew it. I think that was everything I needed. Oh, also remember that our outreach this month is the National Kidney Foundation. And Jackie and Jackie had their grandkids last week, but yeah, that's their everybodypeas.org will take you to the site. And if you look on the Metron page, you can link on that and it'll take you right to it. But anyway, they were with their grandkids last week, but I was mentioning that when Jackie donated her kidney, she was telling me what an amazing organization this is. And, organ donating it's an awesome thing. Even I just got my driver's license redone, and because I lost it, I had to get a new one. And they always ask, do you want to be a donor? And, whatever you feel about that is your business. But I think, man, if you can be a blessing to somebody when you don't need those parts anymore, absolutely. I mean, I would, it would be difficult to do the thing that she did while you're alive, but after you're out of the body, I think, especially if you took care of it, you didn't smoke and drink, like, hey, somebody could. I like the idea that somebody's walking around with my parts. I'm still alive on the earth. You can't get rid of me yet. But she was saying that when she donated her kidney, that they came in and said, "Give us your top 3 bills," which included their mortgage. And I told them I was going to say that, so they knew it. Which I thought that was really cool. I like to know that that's when you give to a place, that's what they use the money for, among other things. I'm sure research and that kind of stuff. So anyway, it's really I love this part of Metron. That now next month we'll be given to a ministry. There's a church that's starting up here in town that I have a connection with the pastor. And I told him that we would sow into his church next month. So I'm not against giving to churches. It has to be a church that I believe in. It has to be a church that I believe. I can't support a church that I think is just preaching something that I can't support. It made sense. I can't support something I can't support. Really? That's a very well thought out sentence. Maybe I should run for Speaker of the House. Anyway, sorry, just a little political humor to break the ice. But anyway, that's where it's technically what we're able to give in a month is technically like it would be like a tithe. Sometimes actually a little more than a tithe. Well, somewhere around what a tithe would be. So I don't talk a lot about tithing, but I do believe in it, and really appreciate those of you who still believe in it. Like, come on, Jesus. Glad you got the revelation. And otherwise I'd be working at Walmart. So I appreciate it. And yes, it is Pastor's Appreciation Month. And this is the only reason I even brought it up and posted about it online. And, I've had other people had issues with me posting it online, but, whatever. But I have so many people in a week who, as recently as 10 minutes ago, people I haven't seen in years, who will inbox me, text me, and say, I don't come to your church, haven't for years, but I believe in your prayers. Would you pray for so-and-so or whatever? So I'm constantly pastoring people that I don't even really have that much contact with. And so, after a while you think, well, the workman's worthy of his hire. Paul said, if I've ministered spiritual things to you, you should minister natural things back. He said the elders who rule well are worthy of double honor. So, at a certain point you think, well, I'm pastoring like all the time. In a lot of ways, the internet has its effective time management in that I don't spend a lot of time sitting behind a desk in an office counseling people like I used to. On the other hand, I'm counseling nearly 24 hours a day. And I'm not complaining about it. I actually prefer it this way now. I think it's a lot more immediate. I had one of the best secretaries in the world for years, but I got to a place where, I would come into the office and she would say, hey, we got a message that so-and-so's in intensive care. And I'd say, yeah, I was with them all night. Because now people just contact me directly, whereas it used to be you had to wait till the office opened and you had to call it. And so we may not call it church in the now, but we're still very much in the now. I mean, we are on the cutting edge of how ministry goes now. And really, for mature people, you don't need a whole lot of verbiage. You just need to say, here, some of you tell me I don't even need to tell you anymore. I just think it and you post about it. I'm like, well, that's interesting. So, and I don't doubt it. I mean, I hear it enough that it must be true. So anyway, good stuff. We speak in this atmosphere. Let there be light. Last week I started a series and I'm feeling the vibration of this word very strongly. While I'm thinking about it, the word for measurement of energy, Joules, is pronounced joules. Doc told me that. 2 or 3 other people mentioned that. I didn't want to call it jowls and it be, I understand my limitations. But we were talking about ways to elevate your vibrational frequency. And I said, when you go back to Galatians chapter 5, when Paul talks about walking in the Spirit, And he says in verse 25, if we then be in the Spirit, let us also walk in the Spirit. That's always interested me that he said that, because being in the Spirit is positional. That's just, you just are spiritual beings. Walking in the Spirit seems to be this other thing. It's like the implication is not everybody who is in the Spirit walks in the Spirit. And, if you came out of a fundamentalist, legalistic background, you probably heard this chapter taught in a shaming way. Like, here's the works of the flesh. And, he would list all those. But then he follows it by saying, but here's the fruit of the Spirit. And you could just as easily say this is the manifestation of the Spirit, or you could say this is the highest vibration of the Spirit, and it would still be absolutely true. And if Paul were standing here right now, he would back me up on that. He would say, no, vibration is the same thing. I used the word fruit in my generation because we didn't have science and quantum physics and that sort of thing to have language for it. So we explained it in the way that we understood it. But I want to show you, this is verse 22 of, it's actually verse 22 and 23 of Galatians 5. This is in the Amplified Bible. I love the way the Amplified spells it out. It says, but the fruit of the Spirit, or the result of his presence within us, is, first of all, love. I don't know how these experts in vibrational frequency measure this, but I've read it in probably 50 or 60 different articles that say the highest vibration in the universe is love, the lowest vibration in the universe is fear. Well, that sounds like what I've taught for 43 years. There's no fear in love. Perfect love casts out fear. That hate is not the opposite of love. Fear is the opposite of love. And there's such a truth to that. But I like that the Amplified says unselfish concern for others. The second one is joy. Third one is, the bracket is inner peace. The fourth fruit, or highest vibration of the Spirit, is patience. And I like it says, not the ability to wait, but how we act while waiting. Because just sucking it up and holding your breath and trying to get through something, that's not really patience. Do you know what I mean? If somebody's hurrying you along, they're like, are you ready yet? Are you ready yet? Whatever. That's not really patient. Yeah, I'm waiting on you. I am waiting. You understand? I'm waiting. Well, I don't need that hassle. I have one last nerve, and you're like working it. So thank you for letting me use you there, Margo. I've never actually waited on Margo, so I felt it was fine. Kindness, goodness, faithfulness, gentleness, and self-control. King James says temperance. Against such things there is no law. Now, this morning when I posted about my word today, I said I want to share some things that I've never shared before, and I've kind of talked around it, but I think this is very interesting. It's a long quote, so just bear with me. Let me show you this. This is by Ari, I believe it's Lakakis. It says, matter can be broken down into smaller components. These smaller components transport us beyond the physical realm and into the realm where everything is pure energy. Now, we've been talking about this for a year. Remember in Genesis chapter 1 in the concordant literal, it doesn't say the Spirit was hovering over the face of the deep. It says the Spirit is. It's interesting that nearly every time in the Greek and a lot of times in the Hebrew, there is no, and most times in the Aramaic, actually, there is no past, present, future. It's always now. I think that's fascinating, that the creation was not, the Spirit was vibrating. It's the Spirit is vibrating over the face of the earth. And we've talked about this idea that there is something above us, whether you call it expanded consciousness or going from glory to glory or the mind of Christ, whatever your terminology, you're really talking about the same thing. And what it means is there is something higher. There's a higher thought. There's something that you are aspiring to. That's what I want to talk about. And if you weren't here last week, I gave you this little example, and depending on how you view the world, you may think this was a fluke. I think it was an actual manifestation of what I'm talking about. We were out of town last week. We went to see Corday. We stayed at a little B&B up there. And while we were getting ready on Saturday morning, I was already ready. I was online, and I was reading some articles about raising vibrational frequency and ways you could do it. And nearly all these articles will kind of say the same thing, like forgive, think positive thoughts, basically act like what a Christian should be like. And that when you do those things, you know how when you do an act of love or you give to somebody, you know that really good feeling you have, that's a high vibration. And that really yucky feeling you have when you leave a table after sitting around and gossiping about somebody, that's a low vibration. You've taken it down to the lowest common denominator. You know, when you just feel like I need to gargle with some Listerine by the words that just came out of my mouth. And so I was talking about it, and I was thinking about, if we then be in the Spirit, let us also walk in the Spirit. Is there a way to spike the vibrational frequency and to get up in a higher plane to work miracles? And remember last week we talked about everything from Jesus walking through walls to Enoch being translated to Philip being translated, that these were spiritual people who seemed to take it to another level on occasion. Like, what is that? What and can you have any control over making that happen? So I just tried it as an experiment. I prayed a little bit, but I was actually doing some things. Like I wrote several people that I'd been thinking about. I just wrote them some real positive words, and I posted something positive on Facebook. And I did, even like somebody that had kind of been negative to me, I responded positively to them. I just, in a short amount of time, I was just doing several things just to arc that frequency, like take it up high, like love, joy, peace, all of these fruit of the Spirit. While I'm saying it, Ken comes walking out. Was getting ready in the bathroom, and I said, "What's wrong?" He said, "I dropped one of my contacts, and I can't find it. I can't tell if it's in the back of my eye or I've looked all over this bathroom." And I said, "I can find it. My vibrational frequency is really high right now." And walked right in there and went, boom, there it is. Now you can say, "Bishop, come on, that had no connection." Well, fine, you big Presbyterian. What's wrong with you? Einstein said there's two ways to live your, usually I say Baptist, but I give the Baptist a break today. Einstein said there's two ways to live your life. One is as though nothing is a miracle. The other is as though everything is a miracle. I could easily say, yeah, I just happened to look in a place that he didn't look. But I'm telling you, where I saw it was in a very obvious place. And I went right to it. And I felt like, no, this is in direct correlation to me consciously, intentionally raising my vibration. And let me tell you how strongly I believe this. Since that happened, there have been several opportunities where I could have responded negatively to someone. I could have said something negative, and I've just stopped myself and said, "Nah, I want to keep my vibration high." Because I know there's more to it. Remember in Empire Strikes Back when Yoda was teaching Luke Skywalker how to levitate, and he couldn't levitate the spaceship out of the swamp, but he could do the rock. And Yoda said, "No, there's no difference." I won't try to imitate Yoda because it hurts my throat. But he said, "There's no difference. If you can levitate the rock, you could levitate the spaceship. The difference is only in your mind." Well, I believe if I've spiked my vibrational frequency and walk right in and point to a tiny, virtually invisible thing on a hardwood floor, then is it possible to keep it up at that level and walk up to somebody with cancer and say, you're well, and then be completely well? And I believe that, Jesus, a lot of times when he would go off to pray, I don't think he was making a lot of petitions. I can't imagine him asking the Father for that much stuff. What I sort of visualize is his, charging his battery and arcing his vibrational. Even last week, Joan and I were talking about it because he's been introduced somewhat to meditation, and he was telling me about it, and he said, "Do you think it's the same thing as prayer?" And I said, "What you just described to me sounds exactly to me like prayer." And Western Christians hear that and they go, "Ooh, that sounds so Eastern." Well, so Jesus was way more Eastern than most of us are. And his ideology came out of all those ideas about serenity and all that, whether you call that Zen or whatever. That's what Jesus came out of. We westernized him and made it all about, confessing Cadillacs and that kind of stuff. And we was kind of like, that sort of was not what he was talking about. And look, I'm not against prosperity at all. I just believe, the word affluent comes from the word flow. I am a prosperous man, but I don't fixate on money and all that kind of stuff. If you want to, that's fine. But my ideology is it's a holistic thing. I am prosperous, and money is a part of that. And believe me, I've had it and not had it. And people say money doesn't bring you happiness. Clearly, it didn't have any, because it'll make you a little happy. I mean, it will. Say they won't bring you happiness. Yeah, a little bit. just a little bit. Whoever said that just didn't have any, because I've had some and I was like really happy. Last night we went out to I did a wedding for Ken's niece, and so she was kind of going through him. She's like, "What does he charge for a wedding?" And I said, "Just tell her I'll do it. It's your family. I don't charge them anything. It's fine. We'd be going to it anyway." Well, he asked her for a certain amount, and they gave it. They said, "Oh yeah, no problem." I said, "We're gonna start referring my weddings to you from now on." I had no idea. I was just gonna go, and she didn't even flinch. She's, "Oh yeah, no problem." I said, and you know what? It made me happy. I ain't mad at that at all. But I wouldn't have even said, that's his niece. I'm not going to say, anyway. So that's what I'm talking about this month. If you get into the works of the flesh, God's not mad at you. You're not going to go to hell. You're not going to miss the rapture. None of that. You're just going to operate at a much lower frequency, and you're not going to really manifest abundant life. Let me tell you, abundant life is yours, but you have to, I don't want to say work at it, but you have to make the effort to maintain it. And, this coming Tuesday, day after tomorrow, will be the 5th anniversary of when I came out publicly. And that's half a decade. And a lot has happened. And I'm in a really good place. Even, I was telling Avery this week, I said, there was a time I was getting good and bad, but honestly, everything I get now is good. And even hearing from people that I disconnected from for a long time are writing me all of a sudden. And they're like, I just want you to know we miss you and we still listen to you and whatever. So it's really good. And I know a lot of it is just stopping energizing negative words, like complaining about or talking about them. And so, if I ever do get one, it's like, it's not even worth it to me to even talk about it or to post about it. It's like, I've already fought those battles. Point being, now I'm at a place where I have, I can't, no other word but work. I have worked so hard to have what I have now. And when I say have what I have, I mean being at peace, loving what I do, being in the community I want to be, and all those things, and paid a price for it, but it was worth it. That it's made me very protective over the turf of happiness. Do you know what I mean? I'm aware of stuff going on in the world. I watch the news. I know that we could technically be on the brink of war, just like we've technically been on the brink of war my entire life. I'm aware of it. I pray for it. Yes, I know there were shootings last week and they're horrible, whatever. But even with that, I have to look at it and go, okay, that is a reality in the world. I will do what I can about it. But me allowing myself to become depressed and anxious and upset over it's not going to help that situation. Now, some people interpret that as, oh, you're out of touch with reality. All right, fine. If that's the way you want to think, I just choose to see that glass half full. And I have worked so hard to get that glass and get that perspective that I can't let anybody make me see it otherwise. And if you think that's being out of touch or whatever, then that's on you. I'm just saying I'm very protective. When people say, you brag too much about your kids. You don't know what you're talking about. I'm so grateful that I have children, and I'm so grateful that because a lot of men like me never had kids, and they tell me, I wish I had taken your journey, and no regrets, but I'm really happy that I did. And the fact that my kids grew up and they want to be friends with me, and we're going to see it. Ken's on call this week, so I'm sure I'm going to go do a late night movie with the guys, and that's part of our routine. I'm so grateful for that. I can't even let you mess with that. I'm like, no, I'm too happy. I'm too happy that I have that. And if you don't understand it, you got to work out your own salvation. But when it used to be when somebody would say something, do you remember when your mom would say, "Oh, they're just jealous"? Let me tell you something. A lot of times that really is true. Misery really does love company. And when people are miserable and they see that you're not miserable, it just infuriates them. And what I want to say is, I'm not gloating over my happiness. I want to show you the example that my life has not been perfect. I could tell you stories about things that have happened to me that make you cry, but I don't want to exalt that anymore. With the time I have left on this planet, I don't want to enjoy every day. I want to enjoy every minute. I don't want there to be 1 minute that I'm not just absolutely enjoying everything. And that's why I take a lot of pictures of my life. I like to document it. When I'm having a happy moment, I want to remember it. My kids know, just go ahead and pose for the picture because he's going to take them. My granddaughters, I'm like, girls, the sooner you smile and get this over with, the sooner Poppy will leave you alone. But every time I'm with y'all, it's special to me, and I want to freeze this. I want to remember it. Next week, I want to look back at your little faces and remember, oh, we had such a good time that day. And I don't make any apology for that. If anything, I show signs of becoming much more extreme about it. So if I'm ticking you off now, you might need to move on, because I'm going to get so much more obnoxious in the future. I see myself getting stronger and better and talking about it. And furthermore, I'm equally as pleased when you are. When I see you talk about, like when Paulette brags about her kids, it makes me as happy as when I hear about my own kids. Of course, that's what you're supposed to. I completely get that. And what if you don't have kids, then brag about your dog, brag about whatever it is that's bringing you happiness. If you go out to eat and you like your food, take a picture of your food and brag about that. I might want to look at it and go, oh, that looks delicious. I might want to eat there. Whatever it is, Oprah said, and don't you defy Oprah. Oprah said, the more you praise and your life, the more, something like that, the more you bring to yourself stuff to praise your life for. All right. Energy relates to matter and the speed of light. This is Einstein's famous E=mc² equation. Einstein's theory of relativity forms the philosophical and scientific basis of the law of vibration via the fascinating world of quantum physics. When two frequencies come together, the lower one rises to meet the higher. Romans, I think it's 11:29 maybe, says, 12:29, be not overcome with evil, but overcome evil with good. We had a situation last evening, just as recent last evening, where it would have been easy not to be ugly to somebody, but when somebody's been a certain way to you, it's real easy to be cool and kind of aloof. And we had that opportunity, and I said, you know what? Be not overcome with evil, but overcome evil with good. We just went in there with love, and it was all good. And we won. We overcame. The higher vibration, I'm telling you, love always wins. It just always does. When you don't know what else to do, think, well, what would love do? And it might not always be easy, and it might not feel good to your flesh, but you're always going to win. Love is the more excellent way. Charity never faileth. When two frequencies come together, the lower one rises to meet the higher. We call this the principle of resonance. Let's look at an example. And this is the part I've never talked about before. This is so cool. When a piano is tuned, a tuning fork is struck and brought close to the piano string that carries the identical musical tone. The string then raises its vibration automatically and adjusts itself to the same rate at which the fork is vibrating. These days, scientists recognize that countless vibrations radiating at various frequencies control the molecules in your body. In 1974, Dr. Colin W.F. McClare, a biophysicist at Oxford University, discovered that the frequencies of vibrating energy are approximately 100 times more efficient in sending information within a biological system than physical signals such as hormones, neurotransmitters, and other growth factors. So in other words, everything's vibration. Even whatever's going on in your physical body, the vibrations around you, like this seems like a small thing, but over here on Ponce, they've just reopened this building called it Ponce City Market. Well, when I was growing up, that was Sears. And we weren't really mall people. We were Sears people. And I loved going to Sears. And back in the day, Sears was really cool. Like the first pair of bell bottoms I ever bought when I was like in sixth grade, got them at Sears and Roebuck. And I used to even when we didn't live in Atlanta, we would still drive to Atlanta to do back to school shopping. And I loved back to school. That was a big deal. I always think about, whatever my little 4 pairs of pants that I got, my little 5 shirts, I would think, okay, what am I going to wear the first day? I don't want to look too eager to be back. I got to be cool. Like, oh, did school start again? Whatever. Like I don't want to look like I don't want to be a nerd, but I also want people to know that I look better than I looked last year. And it was like a big deal. And, you get your new notebook and you get it all at Sears. Oh, I used to love to get that big pack of filler paper and fill up your new notebook and you sharpen your pencils. It was such a good year. I loved it. So they've reopened it now as Ponce City Market. It doesn't look anything like it looked when it was Sears, but I've been in there a few times recently. Joan and I met for dinner there last week, and just walking in that building gives me such a feeling of elation because it taps into all these positive vibrations. It's like I never had a bad experience there. It was always fun going to Sears. I loved it. And I still feel I have that connection with that vibration there. And I'm telling you, there's a reason why Paul said, finally, my brethren, whatsoever things are true, whatsoever things are honest, whatsoever things are just, whatsoever things are pure, whatsoever things are lovely, whatsoever things are of a good report, if there be any virtue, if there be any praise, think on these things. He was saying, go to the higher vibration. Doesn't mean you're not compassionate to people. But some of you that I've visited in the hospital, usually I walk in and make some kind of crack about what the heck are you doing? And like first thing I do is make the person laugh. Because we already know it's a serious situation or you wouldn't be in the hospital. And it ain't going to help you to have my sad face going, oh Lord, what you gonna do? It's way worse than the doctor said. I'm not being facetious. I would rather introduce a different vibration. I don't think she'll mind me saying this, but I was asking Leota this morning. I said, now, I know you lost a sibling, brother, whatever. I said, how many were you? She said, well, there's just me and one of the left. There's one crazy and one sane. I said, well, which one are you? She said, the jury's still out of it. I said, I'm both. No, just checking. Now, you could say, well, that's kind of insensitive. No, I'm obviously aware that, but I also know, she knows my sense of humor. And that was exactly when she said both. I said, that's right. That's what I'm talking about. But honestly, if you don't keep some sense of humor and stuff, everything just gets too heavy and whatever. And, Ecclesiastes 3 says to everything there's a season, and it just becomes part of, you do lose loved ones and of course, you're going to have days when you cry and miss them, whatever, but you have to keep it in perspective and you can't stop living. And they would be the first ones on the other side to come back and tell you, look, don't shut down your life because of me. I don't want you sitting around grieving over me. I want you to live your life. If anything, I realize now I'm on the other side, I realize how precious life is. The last thing I want is for you to spend time mourning over me. Go live your life. I lived mine. Go live yours. I mean, I'm telling you that's what your loved ones would tell you. There's even there's some song, "Don't Weep for Me" or whatever, and I think there's such a truth to that. That the person you lost would be the first one to tell you, dry your tears and go on with your life. This isn't making. I don't need you to do this. And if that sounds flippant, then I don't think you're reading me right. Because I grew up in a pastor's home. We were always in a prison, in a hospital, in a convalescent home. I mean, I always saw the underbelly of life. I always, most of the conversations I had were people in distress. So I'm very aware of the suffering in the world, and still say it's a beautiful world. I'm telling you, I can pray with you and cry with you and walk right out and go to dinner and have a great time and post happy pictures. And it doesn't mean I'm not concerned about you. It means I love you, and I don't think my being depressed with you is going to make you feel any better. So I want to be the guy. I want to be the guy that brings everybody to a higher vibration. I used to love this when, at the end of the year, when people would sign their yearbooks, annuals, I used to always hear this one thing, even for people I didn't know that well. I was Jimmy in high school. Jimmy, when you walk into homeroom, I already feel better. It always makes me feel better just to see you walking in. And I would think, did we ever even have a conversation? And I love the idea. Well, it's what Jesus said when he said, you're the salt of the earth, you're the light of the world. He could just easily said, you're the higher vibration that is supposed to bring every situation up higher. Man, I love this stuff. All right. Now, although most frequencies exist outside of your normal range of perception, you generally observe them as both color and sound. Doc was telling me the other day that there's a whole science about colors that heal you. This is a few weeks ago. She was telling me there was something going on in her body, and she said the reason I wore purple today what was it, Doc? It was something. Was it respiratory or whatever it was? Purple was the color, and she said I wore it today. I think you had been coughing, maybe. Is that what it was? And she said I wore purple today and I haven't coughed. Now you can say, no, that's just crazy. I'm telling you, there's a reason why certain colors make you feel a certain way, and here's the science for it. 7 colors exist within a rainbow and 7 notes within the musical scale. Usually I have 7 points. I cut it down to 5 today because I gotta go. But even Moses, like when Moses said that, the first day God created this, he wasn't being literal. Moses was the first one to tell you I was trying to describe creation in a way I can understand it. But even he understood it in sevens. Like God created on 6 days, and on the 7th he rested, and the rest was not exhaustion. It was enjoying the creativity. If you don't have some kind of Sabbath, then what's the point of being creative? You got to enjoy, enjoy what you have. Ken got to see his grandbaby last night, and I'm taking picture because I like to see the joy on his face when he's holding that little girl. I mean, I love her. She's sweet, but it's like I like to see the joy that it brings him. That's really cool. I love, that's a Sabbath. A Sabbath is, well, this is what I have, and I'm enjoying it. I'm delighting in it. There's nothing worse than feeling like you're not delighted in. Do you know what I mean? If you're, should I say this? If you're in a relationship that doesn't celebrate you, you need to rethink that. You need to rethink that relationship. Now, I don't want to hear from your husband next week going, hey, Bishop Swilley, you told my wife to divorce me. No, that's not what I said. She might have been just looking for a confirmation. What I am saying is, if you're going to live with somebody and they treat you a certain way, it's up to you to say, you know what? You can't talk to me that way. You can't treat me that way. If you don't change that, I'm going to have to break this off, because I cannot be in an environment where I'm not being celebrated. And that doesn't mean that I think I'm perfect. It just, and it doesn't mean I'm not willing to celebrate you. I want to have that, but we can't, I can't come home at the end of the day and hear how bad I am. I can't do it. There was a time in the early part of my ministry, and this is another reason why I don't mind mentioning pastor's appreciation, that people, this was a common thing. People would make appointments with me and just tell me everything they didn't like about the way I ran a church. One guy, it went for, I'm not exaggerating, one day it went for 4 hours. For 4 hours, I sat there and he said, I don't like the way you walk out on the stage, and I don't like, it's just going on. And I'm thinking, why the hell do you even go to my church? If I was that miserable in a place, I mean, the guy you're describing, I can't stand him either. I mean, like, that's horrible. If that's who I am, why would you even sit under that? And as I'm sitting there, I heard the voice of God say, why are you taking this? Why are you even listening to this? I didn't tell you to listen to this. And something switched off in me. And that's why now, if somebody approaches me, if they want to make an appointment, I will ask them, like, what do you want to talk about? Because I've already been spanked enough. I don't have any more tolerance for a spanking. So if that's where you're going, you're gonna have to move on, because homie don't play that. And I'm not saying I'm not teachable or whatever, but at a certain age, you kind of say, this is what it is. Either you like it or you don't, because this is pretty much what it's going to be. And if you're not going to celebrate it, then I'm going to have to either find somebody who will celebrate it, or I'm just going to celebrate myself. It's not in the Bible, but it should be. It's better to want something you don't have than have something you don't want. Bishop, I'm so lonely. I just want a relationship. No, you better say I want a good relationship, because just getting in a relationship for relationship's sake can make you miserable. Oh, don't shout me down just because I'm preaching good this morning. All right. But the point is, I love sevens, and it's cool that you see it's all around us. For example, you can hear the color blue as the musical key of D. I never knew this, but remember I was telling you recently, I said D and D flat always made me feel a certain way, and I thought, am I just imagining that? There's something where those notes hit me, they vibrate inside me. And I was hearing an interview with Andrew Lloyd Webber, and he was sitting on the piano, and they were asking him why he writes in certain keys, and he said, well, don't you see this? He said, let me play this line. So he played a line, and he said, now let me play it for you in D flat. He said, don't you feel the difference? Now, if you're singing in your voice, you've got to pitch for a key that's good for your voice. But the point is, there are colors that do make you feel a certain way. There are sounds that make you feel a certain way. And this isn't some kind of new age psychobabble. This is what's programmed by the Creator into the universe. For example, you can hear the color blue as the musical key of D, which vibrates at 587, and I don't know what that is. Anybody know it? Hertz? Thank you. Y'all are so intelligent. That's why I have to bring my A game every week. Go ahead. If a frequency vibrates fast enough, it emits as a color of light. Therefore, if you want to convert sound to light, you would simply raise its frequency 40 octaves. This results in a vibration in the trillions of cycles per second. Thus, if a pianist could press a key far above the 88 keys that exist on a piano, that key would produce light. What? I feel like I knew that, but I didn't know how to explain that. And I found the language for it. They would produce a chord of light in the same way they create a chord of sound. The only difference is you would see those chords as colors of light, because they would be traveling at the speed of light. As you might guess, when you use the principle of resonance, you can accelerate the speed at which your molecules vibrate. What? When the atoms within you lose speed, you create third-dimensional matter. However, when they accelerate, your consciousness reaches a higher dimension. Hence, the higher you raise your vibrational frequency, the faster you expand your consciousness, and the closer to spiritual enlightenment you become. We call this the universal law of vibration. Now, I could give you, if I had time, I could give you so many scriptural confirmations to that. Everything from do unto others as you would have them do unto you, to With the same measure you meet, it is measured back to you. Blessed are the merciful, for they shall obtain mercy. Be not overcome with evil, but overcome evil with good. It's all through the scriptures. And the Bible writers understood what they understood in their day, and that's how they described it. Now you've got quantum physicists who come along and verify things that we already knew by the Spirit. Now, having said that, you know that verse of scripture in Matthew 5 where in the King James, Jesus says, you are a city set on a hill that cannot be hidden. So let your light so shine before men that they may see your good works. All right. Now, having just said that color is light and light is color, light is actually color at a higher, or color is actually a light. Light is actually sound at a higher frequency. And sometimes that light is manifested as color. Look at how this is written in the Message Bible. Matthew chapter 5, verse 14, 15, and 16 in the Message. Here's another way to put it. You're here to be light, bringing out the God colors in the world. What? Can I get a what up in here? God is not a secret to be kept. We're going public with this, as public as a city on a hill. If I make you light bearers, you don't think I'm going to hide you under a bucket, do you? I'm putting you on a light stand. Now that I've put you there on a hilltop, on a light stand, shine. Keep open house. Be generous with your lives. By opening up to others, you'll prompt people to open up with God. What did we just read? The higher vibration pulls up the lower vibration. The tuning fork on the piano causes the string to vibrate. I'm going to shout in this Pentecostal church. By opening up to others, you'll prompt people to open up with God, this generous Father in heaven. Let me tell you something. When people say, well, you're just always bragging about your life, it is your responsibility to brag about your life. When you are blessed, you're supposed to talk about it. I remember a couple months ago, Reggie and Sonia had us out to their house. They're proud of the house. A beautiful house. The house was previously owned by one of the Harlem Globetrotters. And it was great. We had a great time. But you know what I loved? I loved seeing the joy on their face when Sonia said, you want to see my house? I said, yes, I do. And I loved, see how she's smiling right there? That's how she smiled in every room. And I said, this is what you're supposed to do. You're supposed to, well, you're just showing off. Duh, you think? That's what you're supposed to do. Now, she's always, I read the stuff she does. She's always quick to say, you know, to God be the glory, and we all do that. But God just wants you to just do it, just enjoy it. I know it came from me. Do you know what I mean? It's like, just celebrate it, enjoy it, show it off. And you know what? It's positive people that like to see that kind of stuff. If your first impulse is, I'm going to go see your big fabulous life again, this is what's wrong with you. Well, I don't have a house like that. Well, then go look at theirs and hear their story, because if you knew everything they've been through in the last few years, you'd know it wasn't just them buying a house. It was, I think it's what you call a bona fide miracle, wasn't it? So a thing like that, if you'll get over your stinking attitude, go hear their testimony and say, oh, well, if that could happen for them, then I guess that could happen for me. Right. That's why the scripture says we rejoice with those that rejoice. If it ticks you off when you're like, here comes so-and-so with their big praise report again, you ought to love that person. You ought to be so happy and embrace people that are successful and are happy and got some stuff going on. Really? You want to hang out with people that are just always, let me tell you the latest thing that just happened. If you thought things were bad last week, you have no idea how worse they got this week. Let me tell you every detail. You know what? If I were going through the worst time in my life, that wouldn't make me feel better just to hear that you're going through a horrible thing. That, if anything, it's going to make me feel worse. Sheesh. All right, I got to go. Let me show you these two other quotes. This is by Max Planck. It was kind of like the father of quantum physics. All the physical matters are composed of vibration. As a man who has devoted his whole life to the most clear-headed science, to the study of matter, I can tell you as a result of my research about atoms this much. There is no matter as such. All matter originates and exists only by virtue of a force which brings the particle of an atom to vibration and holds this most minute solar system of the atom together. We must assume behind this force the existence of a conscious and intelligent mind. This mind is the matrix of all matter. What does that go back to? In the beginning, God said, let there be light. And it's that vibration, that light, that color, that higher thing that is still out there, vibrating over the face of the deep. And I don't care how deep your deep gets. I don't care how dark that deep gets. Remember, we talked a whole month about how out of the chaos came up the word of the Lord. I don't care what you've been through many dangers, toils, and snares, I have already come. But there is a thing, a higher thing. Dare I believe that it could be for me? Yes. Jesus didn't say, I came that you might go to heaven. He said, I came that you might have a life, and that more abundantly. And that life is now. What's going to happen to us when we die? You're going to be okay when you die. God's got you. Stop obsessing over streets of gold when you've got everything to manifest right here, right now. Enjoy now. In the next few days, you're going to see, I'm sure, knowing us, you're going to see lots of pictures of us walking through mountains, taking pictures of colorful leaves because we love it. We look at it every year, and every time we see one, we're like, oh my God, like we've never seen it before. He was taking pictures of a tree in front of the donut place yesterday. It wasn't about the donuts. It was a drive-by. It was about that red tree. Haven't you, dear God, y'all got 1,000 pictures of red trees. What's your point? We're still amazed that green tree turned red. We're just like, oh my God, look at that. It did it again. I love that this is my 57th fall, and I'm more jazzed about fall than I ever was. I'm still just blown away. Like, oh my God, look at that. Look at these trees. Somebody said, well, y'all just take pictures and enhance those colors. What's your point? Yeah, but that's what you got the app on your phone for, you idiot. If that's what makes the picture look better. That's not, you didn't bust us. Oh my God, they're on to us. Of course we that makes the picture look better. Exactly. That's how I see it. When that app helps me, like this is what I'm seeing. I see it in Technicolor. I hear it in stereo. That's the world that I'm observing, and that's the world that I'm creating. And then finally, this last one by Wallace Wattles. Everything you see on earth is made from one original substance, out of which all things proceed. It is a thinking stuff from which all things are made, and which in its original state permeates, penetrates, and fills all the inner spaces of the universe. A thought in this substance produces the thing that is imaged by the thought. Man can, from things in his thought and by impressing his thought upon formless substance, can cause the thing he thinks about to be created. That's basically Mark 11:23. Verily I say unto you, if you say into this mountain, remember we talked about that before, that the word is the vibration that moves the matter. If I speak to this mountain, be removed and be cast into the sea, and does not doubt in his heart, but believe that what he says will come to pass, he will have whatsoever he says. Wow. Let's all stand. And that's good. Don't you feel it? Don't you just feel the God colors, the light, the vibration? Yeah, but you don't know what's going on. I'm telling you, stop energizing the stuff that you don't want in your life, because the more you obsess over it and talk about it, whatever, you think it's going to make you feel better. And I'm not suggesting denial, because sometimes you do need to talk about what's actually going on. But after you've stated your case, then you've got to move to a higher vibration. And if you do have to admit that something negative has happened, then prophesy the end result. Jesus says, I will be in the heart of the earth for 3 days, but on the third day I will arise. So if you say, I need to tell you what's going on with us, but this is what's going to happen, and we will get through it, you will have exactly what you say. I'll say this one last thing, just 2 or 3 things I've bought online lately. I'm redoing my bathroom and just several things. And if online shopping can really spoil you because it's so much easier than schlepping around to all these stores. It's like it's anything you want. It's like you can find it, and it's amazing because. And I know some people don't like to shop online because they're afraid to put their credit card on there. You know, I can't live in fear about that. But I love it because like 3 things lately, not even that expensive, but just things I wanted and I couldn't find anywhere else. And it's like I had this little computer and I typed these words into it and I hit this button and like about 3 days later, it shows up at my house. It's like, this is amazing. Like I just wrote these things in and there they manifested. Like, what? Remember I told you I wanted a print of It's a Wonderful Life? I bought it online. And there it is. And like I was looking at it last night. I said, it's amazing that we live in this world where I could type in print of It's a Wonderful Life framed, and it's on my wall like within a week. And I thought this is really very symbolic of what faith is. Because that Apple computer in my lap is the evidence of things not seen. And it's the substance of things hoped for. And I don't know, there's something about it. It's made me feel like all things are possible. And not just ordering something online, but ordering the life that you want. Ordering, like putting in your order and getting it. You heard me? All right. Let me run this, and then I'm going to let you get out of here. This is good, wasn't it? Those of you that came in later.
Contributing at Metron is quick and easy. Simply text the amount you'd like to contribute to 404-620-5044. Once you've sent the amount you'd like to give, you will receive a link. Clicking the link will take you to a one-time registration form. This will make the contribution process even easier in the future. Once you've filled out the information form, you will then see a successful registration and donation page. You can now give anytime by simply texting an amount to this number. To set up recurring contributions, log on to bishopthenow.com and click Simple Give. We have more information on how to do this available for you in the back of the room. Thank you for your investment in Metron.
I love the word anytime. I've already quoted Brenda on this. She told me a few weeks ago, she said, I love that you can give online now because I got some money during the week and I knew if I didn't give it right then, I'd spend it before Sunday. So I went online and was going, you let the Lord use you, sister. But if you're making where was I this week? Oh, I bought a couple things at CVS and they had like coupons. Like one was a can of deodorant, had like a $2 off. And so the woman who was ringing me up, she was taking on she says, you don't mind if I use these coupons, do you, and save you some money? I said, let the Lord use you, sister. She said, won't he do it? But if you have a check, just make it to JESM and Danny will be back there to receive that. If you have cash, just pay it forward. Bless somebody. There's somebody here that may need it, or there's indigent people who need something. So just put it out there and plant those seeds. You're going to have such a wonderful week. You're going to have such a beautiful day. You're going to get a great night's sleep. You're energized. You're going to face everything this week. You're beautiful. You're attractive. You're smart. You're intelligent. You're loved. You're secure. Good things are coming to you. The atmosphere is pregnant with possibilities, and you're going to manifest them in the next few hours. God bless you. Go in peace. Love you.